Well, good morning, everybody out there in social media world, Facebook land, whatever platform you are watching us on today. We are excited as we continue our cultural series for the month of September. There's so many reasons why we named September a month to celebrate our culture. And we're going to get into that in a minute, but I do want to say a few things to start us off. First and foremost, we always want to thank our supporters and our sponsors here at the Albuquerque Hispano Chamber. This month, our supporters and sponsors are Walmart and New Mexico Tech. We could not have done this series the last 5 months without New Mexico Tech. They've been amazing. So Carlos Romero and team and Matthew and Liam and Shay and Jermaine, and I wish I could name all of you, but you guys have been incredible. Every endeavor that we have done virtually has pretty much been with you guys, and you have been a godsend. We thank you guys so much. And of course, we thank our supporters at Walmart, one of our biggest members, clients, supporters, and sponsors, and we thank them for everything that they do to help us support our programs and all of our entrepreneurs here that use our programs at the Hispano Chamber. So let's talk about the weather today. Oh my gosh, I woke up so excited to put a sweater on. Who else? Who has sweaters on today? I'm so excited. I was like, yay, boots and sweaters weather. So I was really excited that today we get to talk about the important part of our culture and important part of our community. And I know that several of the ladies that are on today love boots and sweaters. So that's why I was excited this morning as Jen shakes her head yes. And so this month, guys, we start Hispanic Heritage Month. It's the kickoff. We do it every year as a community, as a country, from September 15th through October 15th. And we get to celebrate all the amazing things that our culture brings to our community. And there's actually a group of people, individuals, community leaders, entrepreneurs, supporters inside our community. They're like the elves behind the scenes that maybe you out there do not even know they exist. But the sole purpose of this committee is to constantly keep in the forefront the importance of the culture, the legacy, and the history of what our Hispanic culture means here in Albuquerque. So with that being said, I'd love for you to meet the panel today, and I'm going to kind of just go around in the way that everybody's placed on my screen. And if you guys could introduce yourselves, the company and or the group that you represent, and tell us how long you've been with the committee, just a little something so we can get to know you. So I'm going to start on my right side, and that is Patricia Chavez.
Okay, so you asked how long I'd been on the committee. I think I was one of the, along with Jen and some of our other, I want to say Madrecitos, Padrecitos, one of the original founding members. So very glad to have supported that original beginning with the Hispanic Heritage Committee. I've been with our chamber 30 plus years. And very happy to have been involved in several of the committees. I own PLC Enterprises, corporate government relations, events, meetings, management, and youth entrepreneurship training. Thanks, Shannon.
Thanks, Patricia, and we're going to talk about your event management skills here in a minute, so we'll get right back to that. Next, I have Jen, Dr. Jen Gomez Chavez.
Buenos dias, everyone, or actually buenos tardes. I'm Jennifer Gomez Chavez. I am currently the Special Assistant to the Associate Vice Chancellor at the University of New Mexico Health Sciences Center, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. I also serve as the Director for the Central Region for Enlace New Mexico. I am also a proud founder of Hispanic Heritage Committee, and actually I started celebrating and being a part of Hispanic Heritage Month activities for 26 years. When I first started at the university, I was looking for a community organization to get involved with, and at the time it was De Colores. I spent some time with them, and then we transitioned this committee in, I believe, like 2006, 2007, with several founders, including the Albuquerque Hispano Chamber of Commerce. And since then, we have been celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month as well as Hispanic heritage activities year-round. And I am so honored to actually serve as the co-chair to this wonderful committee. So thank you for highlighting our great committee and highlighting the many organizations that make up the Hispanic Heritage Committee.
So we're super excited, Jen, to have you on. I'd love for you just to take a minute to tell us who your co-chair is. She was unable to make it today to join us, but just as important and such a big part of the committee. So Jen, if you would do the honors, please.
Yes, I'm honored to actually serve with Irma Ruiz, who is the other co-chair. She actually represents the New Mexico Rail Runner. And together we have been co-chairs, I believe, about 5 years together.
Great. Hi, Irma. If you're out there watching, we miss you and we will see you soon. So next on my screen is the lovely Miss Amanda Armenta. Amanda, it's all you. You're at home. I can see in the background.
I am at home, yes. Well, thank you for having us. My name's Amanda Armenta. I represent T-Mobile. I'm a senior manager, employee success partner, and I also represent the Hispanic Scholarship Fund on the Albuquerque Advisory Council. I've been a member of the Hispanic Heritage Committee, I believe, it's doing the math while we were talking, I think it's 7 years. I was at a Hispanic Scholarship Foundation event, and Patricia and I got to talking and I got involved, and I've been here ever since. I love what this organization represents and the people, and so I'm really excited for another Hispanic Heritage Month, and excited to be with you all today.
Thanks, Amanda. Miss Valerie Martinez, you are up.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Valerie Martinez, and I have served on the Hispanic Heritage Committee for 2+ almost 3 years. And although heritage has always been an important part of my life, being a 5th generation New Mexican and father from northern New Mexico and mother from the Gallup, Los Lunas area. And I work in promotions, printing, merchandising, specialty products, getting businesses messages on everywhere they can promote their business. And I'm excited to serve with Hispanic Heritage Committee currently for Hispanic Heritage Month. I also worked at the Hispano Chamber of Commerce after I graduated from the University of New Mexico, worked under Executive Director John Garcia and Leroy Pacheco. So I've been very familiar with the Hispano Chamber and serve as an ambassador as well with the Hispano Chamber at helping the businesses with resources for the with Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. So excited to be here today.
No, thanks, Val. And it's funny that you would mention John and Leroy, because we actually spoke with both of them this week. So that's really strange. It doesn't happen all the time. So we'd definitely like to give a shout out to our founders and our supporters and our legacy over the years. So it's nice to always have mention of our previous past CEOs and board members as well. So thank you for that. And definitely last, but not in any way the least, Mr. Marquez himself, Mr. OJ Marquez, please take it away.
Hello, everybody. I am Orlando OJ Marquez. I have been a part of the Hispanic Heritage Committee, I think 3 or 4 years. It's funny, Roberta Simone heard me speak to a small group of people about mariachi education in the schools and a program that I implemented in Las Vegas, Nevada. But as of right now, I recently launched my own real estate team, the Marquez Group with Keller Williams Realty. So I've been kind of grinding away and building that business. I'm also the director of Mariachi Tierra del Encanto, which is mariachi ambassadors for the state of New Mexico. But proud to sit on this Hispanic Heritage Committee. It falls right in line with a lot of my core values and the things that I hold important to me and my family.
That is awesome. Well, I just love that, you know, it's been such a pleasure. I've had the pleasure of working with the committee probably the last 5 to 6 years. I was trying to go back and remember meeting Jen for the first time at the state fair, actually, and then we spent a couple of years doing that before I came to the chamber, so probably about 6 years. So I appreciate all that. And let me tell you, one thing that it does is it builds friendships, and I've been so lucky to spend time with Amanda, Jen, Val, everybody. Patricia is always around since I've been here at the chamber, and Orlando is practically family. So we've had the pleasure of spending many years together. And the reason I bring that up and the reason it's so important is because this committee is a family. We are parts of the community all coming together to support one cause, and that is to make sure that our culture, our legacy, our herencia is all in the forefront at all times. And though we celebrate it year round, we really go the extra mile during Hispanic Heritage Month. So with that being said, I want to really start with what does that mean and how do we kick it off? And let's talk a little bit about that. And then we're going to kind of talk about what happens throughout the year. But because this year is so interesting to the whole world, of course, everybody's had to adjust to this virtual lifestyle that we live in. And so I know that the team has really, really stepped up this year. And I know that everybody's worked really, really hard. So I want to kind of reach out to Patricia on this. You've done an amazing schedule. I know you've worked with several people, but if you could just start to tell us a little bit about the importance and why we do this press conference kickoff, and then let's just kind of go through the details of what people can expect.
I appreciate that, Shannon. I might yield to Dr. Gomez first because, Jen, I know you always like to put our mission and our vision, what our whole mission statement is first. I think that will help to frame where we go from there. Jen?
Thank you, Patricia. So we are celebrating, I believe it's our 14th Hispanic Heritage Month here in our city and our state. Again, our committee is comprised of about 50 organizations that are really coming together to promote, preserve, and celebrate our Hispanic history, heritage, and culture. And that's exactly our mission. And I do want to highlight that every year during Hispanic Heritage Month, there's always a theme, a national theme. And this year's theme is actually Hispanics, be proud of your past, embrace the future. Hispanos, sean orgullosos de su pasado y asuman su futuro. So we are so excited, and I want to thank Patricia and the subcommittee who have been putting together our kickoff. After a bit, we'll take you kind of through each day of what we're going to look like for Hispanic Heritage Month, but I'll turn it back to Patricia, who has really been spearheading our kickoff event.
Thanks, Jen. I always think it's great, and I know, Shannon, you do, to put context to what our mission, our vision, and our principles are. So thanks, Jennifer, for putting that together. Again, we have a great group of folks working with us to put this together, but essentially, we are going to do the kickoff on September the 15th, the beginning of Hispanic Heritage Month. We are going to do this all virtually and video presentations and some live pieces. And I know, Shannon, that the Hispano Chamber is also going to help us to put this on Facebook Live, along with a key sponsor this year is GovTV from the city of Albuquerque. And we're so appreciative that our mayor's office, the marketing team from the city of Albuquerque, and GovTV are helping to sponsor this. I think without all that cooperative partnership this year, we'd be in deep, deep trouble, but we can always count on a good group of our partners to come through and support nationally what this is about, celebrating our culture and our history. We have, as an opening, Orlando, you probably want to talk about your group that's going to open the whole event, but tell us about the group and when it started and how you're going to open the event that day.
Well, as I previously stated, Mariachi Tierra del Encanto is how do I put this? Kind of like an all-star group of New Mexico's elite mariachi musicians to come together to serve as ambassadors for the state of New Mexico. So they're made up of kind of small, little mini groups that perform regularly. They're working musicians. However, I felt when I moved back to Albuquerque, there wasn't a polished, rehearsed, professional show mariachi group that represented the state. So what I went ahead and did is I gathered who I knew, some of the best mariachi musicians in New Mexico to create Mariachi Tierra del Encanto, to specifically perform for special events. We've performed for fundraisers to help raise money for cancer, scholarship fundraisers. We're also the house mariachi for the Isotopes, the Albuquerque Isotopes. So we try to represent New Mexico as a whole, as New Mexico's ambassadors of mariachi. And we will be kicking off this year's Hispanic Heritage Kickoff with a very traditional, a very upbeat mariachi performance. We're working on that as we speak.
Thank you. So from there, you want me to go through the lineup, Shannon, or do you want to post that on the screen? Which do you prefer? I mean, we have a whole host of politicals that are joining us and a whole host of different key performances from across Albuquerque and our state representing us during this event.
You know what I think is really exciting, Patricia, is, Orlando is the kicking it off with entertainment is so exciting, and Orlando is such a staple in our community. We have been so lucky to have him as a member for quite a while now, but also he supports so much of what we do. So I want to get that out there, make sure that everybody knows that he's a working musician. And if you guys need mariachis for an event, or you need somebody to serenade for a birthday or an anniversary, or whatever you need a performance for, I hope that you guys will reach out to Orlando. We'll make sure that you have contact information for everybody on the screen. But he has done such an incredible job representing the chamber in so many different ways in the past, and so we want to say thank you for that. But I think he got us a little excited to talk about that. Maybe what we do is we go through the agenda, but let's kind of go through the entertainment first, because that's the exciting part. That's the fun part.
Okay. Well, of course, we have a whole slew of politicals that'll kick it off, but then we have the Festival Ballet of New Mexico. Patricia Dickinson and her team, which I'm very, very honored to be able to profile. They are doing this weekend, knock on wood, a special presentation under a waterfall, I understand, at Eagle Nest. So they are going to be actually filming, producing, and sending to us with a 2-person team that beautiful presentation for Hispanic Heritage Month. So that'll be how we kick off the activity after our mayor. Then, of course, we have other key folks that are involved. Governor Howie Morales is coming on, and next is our Consulado. Of course, Norma Anks will be on. Then I will have a yield to Orlando to introduce Max Baca y los Tex Maniacs, Orlando, that you've recruited as one of our groups who this year were honored in the New Mexico Hall of Fame. So talk a little bit about that group, Orlando.
So what's amazing about Max Baca and his nephew Josh, they're Albuquerque natives, but they are a Grammy award-winning Tejano group. They were originally from Albuquerque. Max Baca is in the Tejano Hall of Fame, and recently has been inducted into the 2020 New Mexico Music Hall of Fame. He comes from a long line of family musicians that have done amazing, amazing contributions to New Mexico and Tejano music, and to have a Grammy award-winning group to perform for our festivities is actually amazing. When I spoke with Max, he was incredibly honored that we thought about him, and any opportunity that he has to give back to Albuquerque and New Mexico, he's very happy to do so. We're looking forward to a really interesting song that he chose for our kickoff.
Yeah, and we're so grateful, Orlando, that you've maintained that connection. Of course, they've always been fantastic performers, and so very proud that this year they joined the New Mexico Hall of Fame. We'll move from their group into our mayor's proclamation that will be read by one of our favoritas, Economic Development Director, Cynthia Jaramillo, will do the proclamation from the mayor's office. And then, of course, Clarissa Peña, and I believe Cynthia might even be joining Clarissa in the salute from the City Council. And then from there, we're going to a beautifully just produced performance by the National Institute of Flamenco. I believe they got this performance for us just under the wire before the weather began. They filmed it in our bosque. And I'll have to tell you, I saw it yesterday and it is absolutely exceptional. So the National Institute of Flamenco will be joining us then. And we'll move from there to transition and the final piece of closing entertainment with a group that's near and dear to all of our hearts, the Sparks Lorenzo Antonio. They have produced the closing piece of entertainment. Of course, this year we would have been with them out at Route 66 for their 20th annual celebration, which is their big scholarship fundraiser. But in lieu of that, they've sent us a beautiful closing performance with Lorenzo and the Sparks on stage at Route 66 that'll be shared with our group for that performance. And then Shannon, your wonderful director, CEO, Ernie will be kind of moving up to the closing speeches, and Dr. Jennifer Gomez Chavez and our co-chair Irma Ruiz will be doing a preview of the month. Correcto, Jennifer?
That is correct.
So what I think that was super exciting is, first of all, the entertainment is an all-star lineup. So here's the positive about virtual. We're not sure that we could have gotten Sparks and Lorenzo Antonio and all the different entertainers and folklorico and flamenco and all the different things we do in one space for this time. So we're going to say that this is a positive, and we can always look at this as an addition to what we do every year with the committee for the kickoff. So I think that's really, really exciting. I do want to just say really quick, we have some people joining us from all over the country. And I just want to give a shout out to Daide, who is out of San Diego, California, who is waving and saying hello to us. And also our friend fellow member, if you will, of the committee, and that's Ms. Carolyn Ortega. So we just want to say hi to everybody that's out there. They're sending highs and saying hello as we go through. So just want to shout those names out because they're an important part of what we do and how we reach across the country and seeing other Hispanic chambers, other Hispanic organizations coming together this time of the year. So we're excited about that. So the entertainment, top notch. I know that every year we get to see live performances inside the gazebo in Old Town and all that fun stuff. But I am excited this year because just to see that really cool performance in a location that we might not have been there. So this is really, I think, a really great thing. So let's talk a minute about some of the speakers. Now, every year we have this amazing group of speakers because of the importance of what the committee does and what it represents. And that's always very important to us. So let's talk about the mayor, the governor, the lieutenant governor, and some of the city officials. I think that those are important leaders in our community, and having their support really makes a difference for the committee. So whoever.
Well, of course, we're going to kick off after Jen and Irma's opening comments and presentation. I believe Irma is going to be introducing our governor, and she's agreed at this point to be with us live. I say at this point because everything changes and is dynamic.
Welcome to COVID, right?
Yes. COVID presentations, we can never tell. And then, of course, our most beloved Lieutenant Governor, Howie Morales, called and he said, Patricia, listen, I was with you last year. I was with you guys live, real in person. I want to be part of this. And I know Dr. Jennifer Gomez Chavez would appreciate my performance one more time. And he says, I'd love to send you virtual abrazos, but can I be on? And I said, of course, and I know Jen was happy to know that Howie was going to be with us. And Jen, you might want to talk about the Consulada. I know she was agreeing to come on board.
Well, our wonderful consul, Norma Ang Sanchez, has been doing an incredible job. Her leadership as the Consulate of Mexico here in Albuquerque. Their office is actually producing a video for the kickoff, but they have been busy getting ready for el 16 de septiembre. So we are also going to be featuring that event, which will happen both out in Santa Fe. So we're excited to highlight that.
And you might
So-
want to mention the participation from our 2 city councilors, Jen.
Oh, yes. We have our participation of our city council woman, Clarissa Peña, who has actually helped create funding streams for the Hispanic Heritage Committee. As you know, Shannon, all of our organizations used to do in-kind contributions to continue doing these yearly celebrations. And it was through her leadership that she stepped in to provide funding from the city to give us some seed money. So we're always appreciative of her, as well as our wonderful mayor, who, you know, has been very supportive of our efforts.
And same thing as our mayor is agreeing to produce, hopefully, a live shout out to folks. And just in case, we have a video as backup. And then I believe, Shannon, lastly, but certainly not least, we have our other closing speaker, our
Patricia, he would say you saved the best for last.
of course, yes. And then the national spectrum of the board of the U.S. Hispano Chamber of Commerce, that's probably 2, because he'll have all of the chambers invested on that special day, right?
No kidding. Well, we're hoping that they'll all be watching and supporting, and I'm sure they're all doing their version of a kickoff for the month, but none like the ones that happen here in Albuquerque. So we'll make sure they get the invite to watch. But we're excited. And yeah, that is Ernie Citabaca, who is our current president and CEO here at the Albuquerque Hispano Chamber. He'll be doing some closing remarks, of course. And we're just excited to kick off the month. There's so much going on this month. As always, and a lot of it is virtual, some of it is not. But again, it's all about bringing everybody together. So I'd like to kind of bring Val and Amanda into this. I'm not sure who has seen the list, but I know that there's some things that we do every year. I know that there's events that happen every year, but maybe we'll start with Amanda, if you don't mind. Let's talk a little bit about what is upcoming in the next month, and what have you traditionally done in the past to celebrate a little bit during this time?
Absolutely. Yes, so we are being creative as everyone is this year, and we're really leaning into what we can do in a virtual space. And so a couple of things that I'm really excited to see brought to life this year is we're really leaning into social media. And so that's where I've gotten a little bit more involved, because I kind of live in that space very comfortably, maybe too much, but we want to make sure that all of the events that are happening throughout Hispanic Heritage Month across our communities, we're really able to amplify. And so we can do that through, you know, our Facebook page. We have a Twitter page, we have an Instagram, we have YouTube, all these different ways that we are able to not only take what is happening and things that we're very proud of that celebrate our culture, our history, our heritage, but do so in a way that they might be even more accessible to people. They can view them on, you know, their own time. They can view them from the comfort of their, you know, home or wherever it is that that they're spending time. And so that's one of the things that we're hoping to do, and that'll look like some of the things we've done in the past, but again on a broader scale. So that will look like us sharing dichos. That'll look like us highlighting the, you know, many talented folks within our community, and then even more broadly, nationally and internationally, as we celebrate Hispanics during Hispanic Heritage Month. And then the second thing that I'm very excited about that we've also done in the past, but that we're looking to, you know, do a little differently and hopefully follow the lead of the amazing lineup for the opening ceremony and the kickoff, is a closing ceremony. So our closing ceremony, typically in the last few years, we have highlighted or we have recognized individuals and organizations within our community that just really stand out in terms of their contributions. And so we have a committee, a subcommittee working on that. So we will have information out to everyone soon as far as, you know, what awards we will be recognizing, like I said, individuals or organizations for, and that's kind of how we close out the month. But again, it'll be in a virtual space. So very similarly, we hope to bring wonderful entertainment, some great speakers, but really want to focus on those groups and those individuals that just stand out and lift us all up. So those are a couple of the things that we're looking forward to in this space. I know for myself, I'm excited for the new challenge. It's making us all lean into different areas of comfort or discomfort. But I think our skills are growing too as volunteer leaders, and kind of as an HR person, I like that. I like the growth that I'm seeing among us, and I think it only makes us a stronger organization.
So Amanda, thank you so much for all of that. There was a lot to take in, because I think it's so important to understand how social media has played such a big part of what we're doing this past 6 months. I think a lot of us were social media people before, but I don't think we've ever been like we've been now, and learning how to use that, not just to share what we're doing for dinner, but to share about what is important and what's happening within our community as well. And so I'm so excited that we'll be using all of those platforms, and of course we'll support in any way we can. We'll be doing the live cast from all of our platforms. And so I love that we're talking about social media as a committee and as a community in a different way now. So I do love that. And of course, we're always looking forward to the closing ceremony when we all get together and we have the most delicious tapas and great drinks, and we get to hug each other. And I know that this is a little bit different this year, but we're all going to be in that spirit when we do that closing. So before we move on, I just want to give a big shout out to, speaking of reaching at a state level, at a leadership level, Adjutant General Ken Nava with the guard, for a minute I spaced it, is with us. He's actually joined on Facebook, so I just sent him a little wave. So hello, General Nava, thank you for joining us. And of course, Dr. Lawrence Roybal, who is such a beating heart of the committee. So thank you, Dr. Roybal, for being with us. I just want to say hi to you all. So next, I'd like to kind of move over to Valerie. Now, Valerie has been very involved this year. And so Val, we'd love to get your opinion on it. Share with us what you've been working on and what we can see over the next month. Well, we say month, but we're Hispanic, so we celebrate year round.
Well, there's so many things going on, and we're going to, we constantly updating the calendar day by day, which we'll be posting. I know every day we'll be announcing the day of what's the activities going on. Every day of Hispanic Heritage Month, we do plan on having a introduction of the day with a dicho, a book of the day. Then, we're going to work with Brian Colon with Cafecito con Con, and follow up by honoring our history leaders, and then also celebrating the arts and activities of the family during the evening. We'll be posting these events. Some of the events that I'm working on is showcasing Rodolfo Anaya's 1972 at the action of his book, Bless Me Ultima. So I know this is an iconic book, it has a picture of like the grapes of wrath or To Kill a Mockingbird, but it's very important to New Mexico, and so we're excited that we're getting the date now in September at one of the breweries, local breweries here in Albuquerque. That will be limited to capacity, because of where we're now with, social distancing and restaurants capacity. But we'll be posting that by the end of the week, the exact date. I think we're looking at September 24th on a Thursday in the evening. And another item that I'm working on as well with the committee is to honor Elena Gallego. She was a trail blazer here before women blazing trails was a thing, according to an article I read about her. She was centuries ahead of her time and third generation New Mexican. And so her family possessed a large portion of what is modern day Albuquerque. And so what we're wanting to do is honor Elena Gallegos. There is no Elena Gallegos trailhead marker here at the Sandia Foothills. And so we've slated October 3rd to reserve some space and think about health wellness. We're going to incorporate that into the day to go for a short walk or hike there along the path, and then come back. And we have reached out and confirming state historian Rob Martinez to give a short talk, as well as I'm in touch with and confirming one of Elena Gallego's descendants, Henrietta Martinez Christmas. So we're excited about incorporating something that's health and, history, and honoring Elena Gallegos, who's a trailblazer. And so that's coming up October 3rd, later on in October. And again, I mentioned we're incorporating all kinds of events into our calendar. One came across my desk this morning. I'm talking with Cottonwood Mall, the Deborah Sherman, who's the general manager there, and they're having a food fiesta tomorrow to reopen their food court again at 25% capacity. So it's from 1 to 3 p.m. tomorrow, and this is a kids event. So they're looking at the first 100 to 150 people, but they're going to have it at 25% capacity, but they're having a craft day for kids from 1 to 3 tomorrow. So excited about that. And those are some of the events that I'm working on. And so I'm excited to be able to participate with the Hispanic Heritage Committee.
So thanks for that, Val. That's exciting that there's something happening. And really what I want to kind of move into here is that there is so many things happening and there is so much activity, and how does one person keep it all straight? There's all these organizations and everybody has something happening, and how do we kind of bring it all together? Well, everybody, we have the solution, and that is the annual calendar that goes out for the next, we say for 1 month, but it generally spans through November or into November, because we're celebrating. We get so excited. We don't just stop on the 15th of October. We continue that celebration. And so Jen, I'd love for you to talk a little bit about this calendar. We've had the privilege here at the Hispano Chamber of working on it with you in the past, and it's so great because what you do is you reach out to organizations and businesses all over the community to try to put into one calendar, one place. And we would love to hear about this year's calendar and some of the organizations that have participated and sent you information.
Thank you. And so I want to go back to the beginning of the Hispanic Heritage Committee. We actually came together because there were events that were happening during Hispanic Heritage Month. However, we were all selecting the same dates. So when we established this committee, it was about how do we support each other? How do we complement all the events, right? So that we are not competing, but really supporting and highlighting our different events. So this is where the calendar came in, is that we reached out to all the different organizations, from educational institutions to business organizations, governmental entities, to say, let's work together to select dates that are not in competition with one another. So, again, this year, we're trying to encourage that, even though, we're not perfect, right? Not everybody can select another date because there's only so many Saturdays or so many, evenings or whatever, but we do try our best to highlight those and to ensure that we are celebrating in a supportive and in an exciting way. So again, this year, as I mentioned, the Albuquerque Hispano Chamber of Commerce is having some wonderful events. The Health Sciences Center, where I actually am also serving as the co-chair for Hispanic Heritage Month, there, along with Dr. John Sanchez, we will be having and highlighting Hispanic Heritage Month activities there in the Health Sciences Center. We have other organizations, such as in the federal government, you know, the Forest Service have events. We have the Sandia National Labs that is also having a youth art contest. So there are so many different organizations, and what we do is we just invite people to come together so that we can highlight these events so that the community kind of has a guide as to what's going on. Now this year, because it is virtual, we planned to, the day before on social media, to remind folks of what's coming next, you know, every day. So, so we're excited about the opportunity. We're excited about the calendar. And I just want to invite any organizations out there, no matter, you know, if you're a profit, nonprofit, Cottonwood Mall, it has joined our Hispanic Heritage Committee. So we invite people to join in the committee, as well as send us your events. We do not, this is not a cost. What we do is it's free. We are just trying to coordinate and highlight all the many contributions that each of us are trying to make. And with that, I do want to just remind us that Hispanic Heritage Month is about highlighting the contributions that Hispanos, Latinos, Mexicanos, we are all in this. We all come from different backgrounds, different cultures, heritage, history, and this is our month to celebrate how we've made an impact in many areas: music, art, education, healthcare, politics, the military, you know, all of that. And so the calendar helps provide not only a guide, but to really lift up the many areas on where we are making an impact.
So Jen, I'm so glad that you said that, because last week I had the true honor of having the National Hispanic Cultural Center on. I got Montevilla on the brain, so I was going to say that, but Roberta Ritchie and Luann Bird was with us. We talked about their theme this year for Montevilla, which I thought was extremely appropriate, and it's all countries. There's 50 some or whatever the number was of Hispanic, Latin, of countries around the world that usually they celebrate one country. You know, every year we wait for the reveal. Who's it going to be? Is it going to be Mexico, Brazil, you know, Ecuador? What's it going to be? And this year it's all the countries. So I think it's super, super appropriate and very important that everybody out there understand that this committee represents all, not just one. And so I think it's really neat that we are able to come together, all of these diverse backgrounds, people from all over, from European countries and Latin countries and South American countries and all the countries that come together to celebrate in their own ways. So we're celebrating as a community here, all of our diversity in that. And we have a lot, there's a lot of us that have really great backgrounds from all over the world. And we've been lucky to have everybody together to celebrate that. So thank you, Jen, for saying that. I think it's super important. So there is a lot of really great activities happening. And of course, we're going to get that calendar. We're going to have it on the Hispano Chamber. They'll have it as well on the Facebook page. It's the Hispanic Heritage Committee. Super easy to find, everybody. I invite you guys to log on, like the page, so that every day when they're posting, you can see those posts, they come through your feed. And I'll work with this amazing team, and we'll make sure that we get that information out daily as well, because there is so much to swallow. And we just want to let you guys know that while you're at home, after the kids are out of school, or when you're looking for something to do, you know, there is so much to do this month, and we don't want you to sit at home and say, oh, there's nowhere to go, there's nothing to do. There is. We're slowly reopening. There's restaurants inside now, thank goodness, because it's getting cold. And we do have those abilities. And like Valerie said, you know, working with breweries and stuff like that. So I think it's really important that you guys learn a little bit about how to find the Hispanic Heritage Committee. whether it be on social media or how you find them, and follow them and learn and see what's going on in the community. If you want to be part of this community, you can reach out to Jen or any of the members, and they will follow up with you. Like they said, Cottonwood Mall is now involved. And so these are really, really important times, I think, for all of us to get involved. And so with that being said, what I'd love to talk to you guys about as we start to begin to wind down and close up the hour a little bit is what personally, all of us have our own story about Hispanic and culture and what it means to us growing up and what our stories were. But I'd like to just kind of go around and start with OJ, because I know Orlando and I know his family, and I know how important everything is to everybody. And so I think it's super important that we learn from each other. And I'd like for Orlando to start and talk about growing up. Orlando, what was so important to you? What really propelled you to take on mariachis, and who were those influences in your life?
Wow. I may take up the rest of the hour. No,
Okay,
I mean,
mariachi.
Not unless you sing.
right. My journey has been a little unorthodox when you hear my full story. Growing up in a Hispanic family, you grew up with the music, right? I never knew that music would completely change the trajectory of where my life would go and the people that I met because of it. But a long story short, I was playing baseball at New Mexico Highlands. My next door neighbor in the dorms was a mariachi from Taos, New Mexico, and became captivated by the music because there were certain songs I'd never heard before. And there was just something deep inside me that I didn't know I had, that just motivated me to learn more. And I was encouraged to sing. I didn't know I could sing. I was encouraged by a cousin and some good friends that I should, consider singing. Before he knew it, I was in the collegiate mariachi group at New Mexico Islands University. Before long, I met some very renowned mariachi musicians, and next thing you know, I'm being invited to Las Vegas, Nevada, to create the first standards-based district mariachi program in the United States. So I had no idea how much that would have changed my life. And it goes back to just being proud of who I am as a Hispano, as a Latino, growing up in an amazing state like New Mexico. It took me living away from New Mexico for 13 years to come back to really, really appreciate how amazing New Mexico is and our culture here. And now I felt that now that I'm back and I'm in a little bit different position in my life, that I want to give back, and I want to contribute, and I want to help others understand the joys of New Mexico. Amazing people that I can bring to our state through affiliations and relationships that I've built over the years. I want to bring them to New Mexico to share with them our amazing state, but as a means to give back to the community.
Well, thank you so much for that, OJ. It's so important that somebody out there is, passionate the way they are about this particular mariachi. Is very particular. It's a small group, but it brings joy to everybody. And so I think it's really great that we have such an incredible supporter of that on this committee and in the community, as a matter of fact. And so we applaud you for that, and we thank you so much for supporting that.
And I'll share one quick little thing. So for those of you that may or may not know, the school chancellor for New York City, the biggest school district in the United States, is a mariachi. His name is Richard Carranza. And we're working on getting him to be on Cafecito con Colon with our state auditor. So you're going to hear the story of School Chancellor Richard Carranza, who is a mariachi by trade, but he's also the school chancellor of the biggest school district in the United States.
That's crazy. That's so exciting. And that's what the beauty of this virtual time has done for us. It's created these ideas in our heads that we would never think of reaching out to the people that we have reached out to, because it doesn't seem so far-fetched anymore to do a Zoom or to do a virtual interface and then share that with the world. So I think that is amazing. And I hope we continue to reach out to amazing leaders across the country. I think it's wonderful. Valerie, what about you? You know, growing up, what was the one thing that really brought it all back home to your culture for you?
There's more than one thing. I grew up in Las Lunas, you know, south of Albuquerque, Valencia County, and I have fond memories of coming home from school and my mom playing Cars radio and listening to Alfredo Jimenez and my love for Mardi Gras. But it's the food, you know. Both my grandfathers on my mom's side, Montaño, and my father's side, Martinez from northern New Mexico, Cuesta, were farmers as well. They did all things. My grandfather grew chili, and my grandfather Martinez, potatoes. He helped pick potatoes in the southern Colorado border of New Mexico. And I grew up with the music. My mom instilled in me the love of music, mariachi, and also the food, you know, with her cooking. She's still alive. My mom, Bessie, I have to honor her. She's a lovely woman, Bessie Montaño, because I'm a lot like her with my love for music and dancing. And it just grew upon me. I lived in Austin, Texas for 6 years, working for Hispanic magazine. And, you know, even going to another part of the country, you know, the New Mexico was still in me. And, you know, coming back here and being here, you know, the traditions, you know, the matanzas in Valencia County, that's what I grew up with. And then my cousins north of here in Cuesta with killing the lamb and burying the lamb underground. So there's the food and the music, because I do have cousins that are artesanos from northern New Mexico as well, playing music. So, and it instilled in me to take flamenco classes, salsa classes, tango classes. And if I could sing, I don't know, I tried it on Sunday, right? Orlando mariachi at Casa Rodeo. I love mariachi and flamenco and salsa. I love music and food.
Well, thank you so much, Val. And what I love about it is we kind of all share a very similar story. Of course, it's our own story, but I love where we're going with the music and the food, of course. So, Amanda, what about you? Tell us something that really growing up is a close memory to you.
Yeah, I have to agree with Orlando and Valerie. It's all the little things growing up, you know, waking up on Saturday morning and cleaning, because, you know, with your parents and they're putting on 89.1. Yeah. Listening to the dedications, you know, for maybe it's somebody you know, or calling them. That's what I do now. It's growing up hearing, you know, Spanglish, the food with, you know, my nana or my grandma. It's a very proud heritage. I feel it's something that I'm very proud of. And it's also something that I want to make sure that I can share with my kids. I don't want us to lose any of the things that makes growing up in New Mexico special. And that's what really brings me back to it. That sense of family, of gathering, which we do a lot of parties and celebrations, of community, with everybody probably being your cousin somewhere down the line. It's a really great sense of belonging, and it centers me. And so that's why I love this. And even just listening to everybody talk about it, even though, you know, we may not be an actual family, it feels like we are. And so it just feels like a family celebration.
Thank you so much, Amanda. And again, I know that all of us are shaking our heads yes when we hear you, because again, growing up, we all share so much. Patricia, what about you? What is a memory that's important, or how did you, anything you want to share with us about your culture?
Well, I always say that my life has been like in thirds so far. I've started my career working in the federal sector for 10 years, working actually with the Office of Personnel Management. We established the first federal Office of Hispanic Employment Program Managers, where now our proclamations are being generated. Then of course, working at the University of New Mexico with the New Mexico Mesa Math, Engineering, Science Achievement Program, reaching the very poor of the poorest across our state and moving them into the higher fields of education has been an advocacy. And then this next third of my life has been working with the Hispano Chamber of Commerce and Youth Entrepreneurship, the U.S. Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, executing the National Youth Entrepreneurship Program. And now that's really become my advocacy, is working with partners like the Hispano Chamber of Commerce, University of New Mexico, Enlace, to try to get our students looking towards business careers in the future. And now working with our partners in economic development, our city in Hispano, launching our Latina style business Hispanic conference that will sort of end up our Hispanic Heritage Month with many of our partners in this area. But youth advocacy and making sure our students have access to all the areas of higher education in their fields of opportunity. But continue to work with all of those partners and dedication towards our youth growing in these leadership fields of the future.
Thank you so much, Patricia. It's so important. And speaking of education and educators, I'd like to close up this conversation part of the webinar with Dr. Jen Gomez-Chavez, a true champion for education in our community. And so, Jen, I know you've got 450 million stories because you and I have those conversations all the time, but if you had to just narrow it down, please share with us one thing that's just really important to your culture and who you are today.
Well, I think that my mother, who was a bilingual educator for so many years, my grandmother, who recently passed away, they instilled the importance of my language, my Spanish language, you know, my Mexican culture. Both my grandmother and mother came from Mexico. So I'm technically from their side, first generation to the US. So my grandmother taught me through dichos to never forget my culture, my heritage, and my history, especially my language. She didn't care how successful, you know, or how high I rose at the university, but to always be proud of who I am. And then growing up in Hegerman, New Mexico, the small rural community of Hegerman, you know, being around my dad's family, the Gomez family, we have the Gomez Club. It still exists thanks to my cousin Sonia Gomez and my aunt Elia Gomez, who was a restaurant. The restaurant no longer exists, but we had Mexican food there as well as Mexican music. Now the music still exists. The bar is still there for many, many years. So, you know, remembering helping wait tables there as a child and looking through the window where the bar area was and seeing the dancing and the music just, you know, has continued all these years. So my language, my music, the dichos, everything from both of my families that now I have passed on to my children. And that's what this month is about. It's about remembering our own stories, but sharing those with our kids, our grandkids, our cousins, our families, because we want to continue our traditions, our, you know, everything that is about us that makes us so unique and beautiful, we want to keep for generations to come.
So Jen, thank you so much. So well said, so important. But before we say our goodbyes, I have to know, what is his name? Is it a him or a her? I'm dying over here. I just want to pick up my dogs and show everybody.
This is baby Rona.
Rona, no.
This is Rona.
Okay,
props for the day. Props for the day, because that
I was getting ready to bring my gata, Dulcinea.
I'm going to call her Ronacita.
47 years, right?
We're celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month, Ronacita.
Yeah. So we have a picture of her with a little sombrero.
Oh my gosh.
What's great is in 10 years, OJ, you're going to be talking to the kids. You're going to say, they're going to say, you know, somebody's going to say, well, how'd you get her name? And you're going to have a heck of a story about how that name came to be.
We named her Rona for a reason.
Living legacy. So, you know, our hour is coming to an end, and I've had such a blast spending time with you guys. I miss everybody. And though I've seen you all in different ways over the past few months, it's, you know, time that, oh, can't wait to reopen and get to see everybody and celebrate together again these important events and in this month in our community here. So I'd like to say, you know, there's a lot that we learned today. First and foremost, the Hispanic Heritage Month kickoff is next Tuesday, and it's going to be on the 15th. It's going to be at 10:30 or 11?
10 a.m.
10 a.m.
10 a.m.
10 a.m. in the morning. You'll be able to watch it live on GovTV. You'll be able to watch it on the different social media platforms, including the Hispanic Heritage Committee that you can find them on Facebook. You'll be able to watch it with the Chamber as well at our Facebook post, our Facebook page as well. So just watch. That's what's the most important. Make sure that you're out there, you watch it, you share it. We've had a lot of posts online. Definitely family members saying, I love this, I can't wait, do this more often. And it really shows the camaraderie in our community. And, you know, Orlando talking about music and the importance of that, and Val talking about food, you know, and Amanda talking about family, and Patricia talking about education, and of course, Jen talking about language. All of this comes together. You know, my 2 cents into this is celebration. That's the one thing we grew up with. We grew up with celebrating. Everything was a celebration. And this month, starting today, this moment, and for the rest of your life, this is a celebration. Life is a celebration, and we're so blessed and so lucky to have all of us together in this setting.
I want to interrupt your ending, Shannon, but I also want to give a shout out to you in the Chamber. Thank you so much for what you've been doing over the last few months.
Yes,
You have exemplified leadership in this time of COVID. The Hispano Chamber should be proud to have you as their first female vice president. Thank you for everything you've done in our community over the last few months.
Thank you, Patricia. I appreciate that. It has been. I was telling somebody yesterday who also got a really great promotion at his organization during this time, and I said, you know, if we can make it through this time, my friend, we can make it through anything, because it has been this. And we're so lucky. But the reason that we're successful and the reason that we're able to do it is because of community support, friends, family, leaders, and entrepreneurs, business owners, like everybody on our panel today. So I want to say thank you to everybody. Val Martinez with Z-Mark. If you guys need promotional items, get out, call Val. She's going to get it for you. Orlando Marquez, not only will he sell you a home, but he'll sing you all the way to the front door. So reach out to OJ. He's going to take care of you. Miss Amanda. Oh, Miss Amanda, I miss our dinners, girl. So we got to get through this and get back out and spend some time together. But, you know, if you guys need some great mobile service, call up Amanda. She knows how to connect you to T-Mobile. And of course, Patricia, she's been with us. I've probably seen Patricia more than anybody, because she's so part of the Chamber and what we do here and celebrating our 45th year. So Patricia, thank you for everything. And of course, Dr. Jen Gomez-Chavez. Appreciate your friendship, appreciate your leadership and everything that you guys do and in education. I want to say one more shout out to Miss Edma Ruiz, who is not able to be with us today, but you are the biggest part of our family and you bring us all together. And so we appreciate you guys. Everybody out there, have a fantastic day. Stay warm. Of course, tomorrow we'll probably be in shorts and flip-flops again. But until then, we hope you guys have a great, great week and stay with us every single day during Hispanic Heritage Month. We cannot wait to celebrate with you and the community. Everybody have a great day.